Hi, this is Sandy Brosam, and today we're going to talk about ants on the sidewalk. This is a story of a defining moment in my grief. It had been 6 months after Brendan died, and I was maintaining, but I wasn't enjoying life. I wasn't stepping into life. I was keeping everything right here. I didn't want anybody getting too close, including my children, because in my strange grieving way, I felt if I bring them here, I'm going to lose them too. So maybe if I love them, that I keep them back just a little bit, they'll be okay. Because when I fully jump in and love with all my heart, they die on me. I don't want them to die. I had enough loss. I didn't want anybody else in my life dying. So if I put them right there, maybe they'd be safe. I know, it's a pretty messed up way to think, but grief does some weird stuff. I consider grief an emotion. It's not a thing. You can't touch it. You can't see it, but you can feel it. And it will change your life. And sometimes you feel like you are so out of control that the grief is in control. But it's really not. We're in control. But we forget that. I did. So this spring morning, we're out working in the yard. And I'm working in the backyard, and Billy's out front. And he's 3 years old. And he's playing. And then I hear him call me. And he's calling me, Mommy, 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 come here, Mommy, hurry, run, fast, Mom. And I don't know what's wrong. And I'm like, oh no. So I trucking around to the front, not knowing what's wrong. And there he is, kneeled on the grass, watching ants on the sidewalk. Well, my first thought is, oh, man, I gotta go get that ant powder. And then I stood there watching Billy. And he's laughing and he's giggling and he's breaking off pieces of his cookie and dropping it down for the ants. And I just stood there and thought, he's enjoying life. All I thought was, I gotta kill the ants. And I thought, this is a real sucky way to live. I'm angry all the time. And I just want to kill everything that pisses me off, like the ants, because they're going to eventually get in my house. So I sat down with Bill. I kneeled on the grass, and we watched the ants. And we started talking about the ants. We talked about how if the load was so heavy, and how could they do that with their little tiny, tiny legs? And we talked about if the crumb was too big, then another ant would help them. And if the crumb was really big, then a whole bunch of ants would get together and they would all pack it away. And we had lots of practice at that because Bill kept breaking off pieces of his cookie to watch. But as we watched those ants, we talked about the fact that they're determined and they never give up. It didn't matter what size crumb it was. They were going to get that crumb down the hole. And they would pack it over there, and even if the crumb was too big, then they would chew it apart and break it apart so that they got that cookie down the hole. It was pretty basic. It was get food, get it down the hole. But then Billy put his finger down there and messed with them. Well, they didn't like being messed with. They'd attack him. So we talked about being ferocious and protecting your home and protecting your brothers and sisters, as the ants were, and about protecting the queen because she was the one that made sure that they could have more baby ants. And as we sat there and we talked about them, I kind of felt like some of my grief was just being packed away with those ants, going down those little holes. We enjoyed it. We laughed, we played, and I realized that I had been his caretaker and his mother, but I wasn't being his mom. And to me, there's a difference. Because as a caretaker and protector, I still had him right there. That day, I brought him back here. And it felt so good. And I didn't realize how hard I had turned. How unemotional, because it hurt too bad to be emotional. And how I had to be strong for everyone else when inside I wasn't. That day changed my life. And I think we could all learn something from the ants, because they never give up, ever. And there were so many times in my grief that I wanted to give up. If I had been alone, I may have. But I always had the drive and the passion to take care of my family. So I didn't give up. I did the best I could. I didn't have any help. There wasn't the internet. There wasn't Facebook. There wasn't an active group of compassionate friends, bereaved parents. There were people who were counselors. I talked to a few. There were concerned people in my life. There were family. But in the end, I really didn't have any help. I had to claw my way back by myself. I read all the books about positive thinking. I would put little positive quotes all over the house. I put them by the light switches. I put them in my husband's lunchbox. I would put them on the wall, so when you were sitting on the toilet, you were reading a positive poem. I mean, I did everything I could to bring positive into my life. But I wasn't letting go of the negative. I needed help with that. But I didn't know where to find help. So when you think about ants on the sidewalk, they keep it real simple. Get what you need. Be determined. If you need help, ask for help. And sometimes it takes more than one to help you. But continue on your journey. Get it done. Don't give up. It's okay to ask for help, because you're stronger when you get that help. Being out there all alone, you're very weak. And it takes a lot of inner strength to climb up by yourself. And for me, it was really hard. Brendan's sickness and all that time in the hospital, plus knowing that journey I was about to embark on, took its toll on me. I gained 50 pounds in 3 months in that hospital because I didn't get any exercise. I was right there by his bed. He freaked out when I left. And when he was sick, and when the treatment was pure torture for him, needle sticks, tests, I would tell him, it's to make you better. You're going to be better. He didn't. He died. So I had all this guilt that I tortured my child for 3 months, horribly, with 2 brain surgeries, 2 heart surgeries, chemotherapy. And he died. So all of that guilt of, what did I put my child through? I didn't have a choice. That was the only thing I knew to do. But when I needed help and I needed other worker ants, I found them in the hospital with the other cancer moms. They changed my life. They made it easier for me, if you can call it easy. Put it this way. I was standing outside Brendan's room, crying, because I couldn't cry in front of him. That would upset him, and it would make him cry. And then his heart rate would go up, because I was watching all those monitors. Yeah, I watched them all. And I was sliding down the wall because I was so weak. I could not take anymore. I was all by myself. We had had something happen. Right now, I don't remember. But I was was just done. I didn't have any more strength. And a woman walked up to me and said, "Hi, I'm a mom here. I have a child with cancer. Let's take a walk." And she reached out and pulled me up, because by then I was on the floor, and walked with me. And she helped me. As time went on, there were a lot of people there that helped me. So when I relate Ants on the Sidewalk to my own life, when I had help, it was so much easier. And when they helped me, it made my life simple, because I knew that I had someone that I could talk to. I had someone I could lean on. I had someone to help me get that crumb down the hole. So when your life gets really tough, and it will, and sometimes it'll be 5, 6 years past your loss, and something's going to hit you like that. Remember the ants on the sidewalk. Remember to get help. Don't try to do it alone. You can't pack that big crumb alone, but you can when you have help. So ask for help. It's out there. There's the internet. There's Facebook. People can say a lot of bad things about Facebook. It is the best thing ever for grief, because you can meet people from all over the world that absolutely know what you're talking about. They share a loss. And I have always told people when I'm talking about my loss, that my loss is no more and no less than anyone else's. Grief is grief, and pain is pain. And it's how we deal with that pain that defines our life. Because we have the choice to overcome the pain or let the pain overcome us. So it's my passion to help others. I'm just a little worker ant on the sidewalk. If you need some help, here I am. Thank you, and have a blessed day.